Switching from the world of sports, let me say something. I'm not the kind of person that engages in incendiary rhetoric about politics or politicians. Although certain issues and the people who hover over them in the political stratosphere get on my last damn nerves. That's not ammunition I like to provide because, A, it's not like I have the bills in front of me. It's not like I'm an aficionado on this subject. And more importantly, you never know how those kind of things could come back to bite you because people engage in revisionist history all the time about political issues and politics and stuff like that. But I do think it's perfectly within my right to say when someone looks like a damn fool. And in the case of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, at this pace, he might go down as one of the stupidest people I've ever seen. And we know he's not stupid. We know how smart he is. We know that say what you want. He's a highly educated, highly intelligent dude. I'm not calling him stupid. I'm saying his actions will have you thinking he is. This is a man that won re-election in Florida during the midterms by 19%. It was a romp. After barely winning his election first go round, years later, he wins re-election by a landslide. When you sit up there and you look at people who talked about him and what he brings to the table, okay? They sat up there and they called it the future. DeSantis was nicknamed the future because of that landslide victory in the 2022 midterm elections. You look at Florida being a tax-free state. You look at the economy thriving. You look at all the things that's going on, beautiful weather. Everybody want to go there and retire, have more money in their pocket, businesses thriving. It's a mosaic, blacks, whites, everybody living there, Cubans, other Latinos. We see all of that. Even with the issue of the border, as much as it may have abhorred and infuriated Latinos, those who are about fairness, that preach about immigration reform and making sure you're here legally and getting in line like everybody else. That's not the most egregious thing to say, feel, or hear. So when DeSantis took these positions, particularly with the divisive tendencies of Trump hovering over this nation, it was easy to surmise that guess what? Nikki Haley ain't going to win the election in a lot of people's eyes. Tim Scott, who just announced he's running for the Republican nomination to be president of the United States, the senator out of South Carolina. Nobody thinks he's going to win. My favorite of the Republicans is Chris Christie. But there are doubters on that side as to whether or not he'll be able to pull it off. Everybody believes it's going to come down to Trump and DeSantis. And then DeSantis, over the last few months, comes across as a dude that has lost his damn mind. The latest. Bad enough he's incited anger from immigrants. Bad enough he's pissed off a whole bunch of women because of his position on abortion rights, Bad enough all of that stuff been going on. But now you've got a situation, and by the way, when I bring up abortion, I'm talking about signing that strict 6-week abortion law. They say most women don't know they're pregnant until 15, 20 weeks in. This man is banning abortion after 6 weeks. Clearly stripping them of their rights to that choice. I, for one, am against abortion. But I am pro-choice because I don't believe any man should have a right to tell a woman what to do with her body. It's just that simple to me. Maybe I'm simplistic in that regard. I don't know what to say, but that's where I stand. But in the end, if you're DeSantis, it's bad enough you've alienated the Latino community. It's bad enough you've alienated tens of millions of women. Because I assure you, even though you have an abundance of women against abortion, most would like the right to make the choice for themselves as opposed to having male politicians dictate those choices for them. Now we get to this latest stuff. And this is where it hits home for me, because I'm a black man and we're talking about the NAACP. Let me put on my glasses to make sure I read this accurately right here. The NAACP issues a travel advisory warning. The NAACP issues a travel advisory warning black people not to travel to the state of Florida. I sincerely hope I don't have to remind y'all that the NAACP stands for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. I would like to believe y'all know what the hell that is. Anyway, I digress. The NAACP on Saturday issued a travel advisory for Florida over Republican Governor Ron DeSantis' aggressive attempts to erase black history and to restrict diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in the state's schools, the organization said in a statement. Quote, under the leadership of Governor DeSantis, the state of Florida has become hostile to black Americans and in direct conflict with the democratic ideals that our union was founded upon. This is according to NAACP President and CEO Derek Johnson. He should know that democracy will prevail because its defenders are prepared to stand up and fight. We're not backing down. And we encourage our allies to join us in the battle for the soul of our nation. Only advice I would give to President and CEO Derek Johnson is eradicate that last line. Soul of our nation, you sound like Joe Biden. A whole bunch of people ain't happy with Joe Biden right now. You don't need to sound like him. Just stand on your own. Having said all of that, Derek Johnson goes on. He says, he added, failing to teach an accurate representation of the horrors and inequalities that black Americans have faced and continue to face is a disservice to students and a dereliction of duty to all. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just looking at this. I'm looking at further research notes. A college board, a nonprofit organization that oversees the AP program nationwide, moved to revise its framework for the curriculum after state officials said they rejected it because of 6 areas of concern. This is what concerns Ron DeSantis has. Black queer studies, intersectionality, movement for black lives, black feminist literary thought, the reparations movement, and black struggle in the 21st century. Not to mention, it also includes removing works by Kimberly W. Crenshaw, Bell Hooks, Angela Davis, and black authors. Respectfully to the governor, Ron DeSantis, who obviously has offended Latinos, blacks, women. Have you lost your mind? Or do you just want to throw away the election? Is that what you're trying to do? I mean, in the history of sports, we've seen people and we've reported on people who've thrown games. From the Black Sox scandal, for crying out loud, even though those people were exonerated, to other things that may have happened, like a Tim Donaghy, an official betting on a game in the NBA. The point that I'm trying to make to you, Governor DeSantis, respectfully, is you don't want to win a Republican nomination? Some people ask that question and they'll say, Stephen A., what are you talking about? It's a rhetorical question because it ensures you won't win a general election, just like Trump won't win a general election. There's going to be too many people that vote out of fear of the divide that he'll cause, as opposed to analyzing and dissecting policy and making a decision then. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake about it. This society is hell right now. On the left, we got the woke culture that has invaded the Democratic Party in a lot of people's eyes. You got rising taxes. You got, yes, the economy looks good in terms of numbers, but the labor participation rate was questionable at best. You have a situation right now where we're looking at the streets of America. We're seeing violence all over the damn place. Gun laws needing to be addressed, not being addressed. And accurate or not, the perception is the Biden administration with Kamala Harris is not as good as we thought it would be. And there's reports every day that even the Democrats don't want him running.